CroatianSports.com here in Oakland, California, with the only NBA player with Croatian blood, Mr. Andrew Bogut. Andrew, December 17th, you're healthy, you're active, you're very productive on the court. What's your secret? What have you changed from your training routine, from your conditioning, from your play on the court?
Mainly just to try to get healthy. I spent actually a lot of time in Croatia in the summer and changed my diet a little bit, so I concentrate on eating a lot of seafood and much lighter food in the off season, which helped because I was on the coast in Dalmatia, and just gave it time to heal in the off season. So once I started back, it felt good, and I haven't really had any setbacks. But last season for me was a nightmare with the ankle, and I'm just thankful that I put the hard work in and it's feeling good.
There's a couple new faces on this Warrior team, Serbian international Nenad Nedovic and Nemanja Nedovic and Ognjen Kuzmic, a Bosnian Serb. How's your relationship with them? Do they refer to you as Australian, as Croatian? Can you touch up on that?
We're cool. I mean, they're both good people. We get along just fine. Nedovic speaks English very very well. Kuzmic struggles a little bit, so I think just hearing me speak Croatian to him, I think helps him fit in with homesickness and just hearing somebody talk. So I try to. He's a big guy as well, so I try to translate during practice. Sometimes the coaches say something and he has no idea what they're saying, so I try to help out. I know how hard it can be to come to another country and you don't know anybody, and he doesn't even know the language. So we get along well. We talk a lot in the native tongue in the locker room. As much as the Americans don't like it, we still do it.
Your fellow countryman Joe Simunic made headlines last month in Zagreb after the Croatia-Iceland World Cup qualifier game by leading the fans into a Zadom Spremni chant, which FIFA considers a Nazi fascist type of chant. What are your thoughts on Simunic's actions, and do you think he deserves a 10-match ban?
I don't know. I think the comments date back to the 1500s. The Croatian people have used for many centuries. It does have connotations towards neo-Nazis, but that's a really isolated period. The way I would compare it is, if a radical group is using "How's your day" as their official slogan, is that going to be banned for everybody? You know what I mean? I think it's for Simunic to get that ban and end his career with a 10-match ban when the team's going to the World Cup, I think is not fair. Obviously, there are some touchy things going on within the world of Croatia and politics and whatnot, but I have no doubt in my mind, that he was saying that from a point of view of being a proud Croatian and just qualifying for the World Cup. I don't think he went and grabbed the microphone to discriminate against Serbian people or Jewish people or whoever's is obviously getting offended by it. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, it has connotations towards neo-Nazi, but it's had a history before that, and in fact, Zadom Spremni, the neo-Nazi one, had further words after that. If you look up the history of it, so it wasn't those three words. It actually continued on with another 3 or 4 words. That was the neo-Nazi part of it. So I know the history of it, and a lot of people that are out there and I posted on Twitter my support for Joe, and I'm getting killed by a lot of people saying that it's fascist and so on. I don't believe it is. I think it's a part of Croatian history, and if you can't be proud of playing for your nation, or whether that be America or Australia or whatever it is, what is left.
Can I get a Zadom Spremni from you?
I'm going to stay away from that right now.
Okay.
Because we know how that goes, especially in the States. But I mean, I have proud Croatian blood, and I'll always be very proud of where I came from. I'm on the reverse side of things. A lot of people say that that chant I had someone on Twitter telling me it's a detriment to his people, and he was a Jewish gentleman. But if people look up the history of the reason why I was born in Australia, I faced my family faced the same problems in the 60s and 70s in former Yugoslavia. So I don't hold Serbian people today responsible for that, or America or whoever. You got to move on, and I just feel the 10-match ban for Joe, touching on that again, is to end your career and get your career taken away from you with a World Cup bid. I just don't think it's right.
The Croatian Football Federation seems to be against Joe. All the Croatian media is against Joe. The fans seem to be, the majority seems to be for Joe, and they want to do something. What should the Croatian Football Federation do besides an appeal from Simunic, and what should the fans do to try to make their voices heard?
I mean, just make the voices heard. I think you need to educate people first and foremost of what the so-called chant is and what it means to Croatia. It's like I said, if you do your research, it's dated back to the 1500s. Back when Croatians went to battle with whoever, and it's more of a proud chant. It translates basically for the homeland ready, and Uboj za narod svoj is battle for your country. So you translate it to English. It's really, which is rare in the Croatian language. When you translate most things in the Croatian language to English, especially the swear words, they sound a lot worse. But this is, I just don't understand it. It doesn't surprise me that politics gets involved when you look at, who has seats in Croatian parliament. To me, it doesn't surprise me what's going on there, especially with the European Union and whatever, and that's a whole other subject. But it's disappointing that, there's heat on Simunic, and then, Gotovina was a similar issue too. I mean, it's touchy for everybody, but I think, the history is the history, and it's time to move on. But I just, it's a tough time right now for Joe, and hopefully something good can come out of it.
On a positive note, Croatia and Australia both made the World Cup. Croatia and Australia have a chance to play in the second round. Let's say they do meet. Who, and we asked you this before, who are you going to be supporting?
I support whoever wins, but for me growing up, Australia was never in the World Cup. So Australia only qualified, I think the last one was 06, I think it was. I could be wrong, I think it was 06. So I was always supporting Croatia because they were the only country I could I had ties with to support. So it was kind of, Australia was in, and then I was like, oh wow, they're in the same group in 06, I think it was. So I was like, had to happen, of course. But I support both countries. I know a couple of the Croatian players, and I know a lot of the Australian players. But whoever wins will be a positive, I think.
Croatia has Mexico, Brazil, and Cameroon in the same group. Does Croatia make it out of the group stage? Yes or no?
I think yes. I think second's attainable. We actually play pretty well against Brazil too. We haven't absolutely got smacked by them before, especially at a World Cup. We usually battle them pretty well and go down 1 or 2-0. So if we can draw that one and win the other two, I think we're in good stead.
Before I let you go, tell me, what does Dražen Petrovic's legacy mean to you? I know you were young when he was playing. Did you catch any of his games? Do you catch any of his games on tape? What can you tell about him?
I'm a big fan. I mean, Dražen and Tony were probably Tony Kukoc were my two biggest idols from the Croatian side of basketball. I think Dražen was a pioneer with European players coming over to the States, and he didn't settle for just coming over as a Euro that was, casted couldn't play defense, or we're not going to give him minutes. He kind of went head to head with coaches, Rick Adelman in Portland, and said, no, I can play in this league. So you have to respect what he created. I think Maršalonis, Lithuanian, was the other one that was a pioneer for guys like myself and European guys and Asians and people from around the world to come and play in the NBA. But Drazen's legacy will live forever. I think whenever you talk to a Croatian person about basketball, what is it now, 20-year anniversary of his death, I think it is. People still will mention Drazen before they mention anybody in that country. So he deserves all the accolades he gets. He's one of the best players to ever play the game from Europe and from Croatia. And the museum's obviously a great thing to visit in Zagreb. So if people ever go to Zagreb and have a chance to visit the Dražen Petrovic Museum, which is actually ran by his mother, it's very, very cool.
Actually, we have one final question from one of our followers. I know you do follow the website on Twitter. Nia Bitno is asking, what is the best center that you faced in your career?
Well, the best center that I've faced, I caught Shaq when he was kind of phasing out of the league, but he was pretty tough just because he was so big. He's just so big and strong. But I think the toughest that I played was probably Yao Ming when he was healthy. He was tough. I mean, it's a shame that his career ended so early with injury, but he was 7'6", strong, and could really shoot the ball. So I had a little bit of trouble guarding him.
Was he tough because of his height or because of his mass?
Height, mass, but he was guys usually that big don't have nice touch. He could shoot fadeaways and turn and face and shoot 17, 18-foot shots. I think he was an 80 or 90% free throw shooter, so it caused problems because I'd try to push him away from the basket. He'd just turn and shoot over me because he was so big. So that's that was a tough matchup for me, especially first, second, third year in the league. I really struggled against Yao.
Andrew, thanks for taking your time with us. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see you soon.
No worries.
Thanks.